feeling. I mean, you absolutely know it.
No, I do.
It's got to be, I don't know, one of the top 5 feelings in the modern human experience.
Yeah.
You walk out of the hair salon, the cape comes off, you catch that reflection in the shop window.
And you feel unstoppable.
Yes. It's that $1,000,000 feeling. The shine is unreal, the bounce is defying gravity, and the color, it's exactly what you show them on Pinterest. It is perfect.
It really is a universal high, that specific moment of, yes, this is it, it's a dopamine hit, but, and I really hate to be the one to burst that bubble right at the start.
Oh, here we go.
There is a massive conflict lurking just beneath that perfection.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
You're here to tell me my $1,000,000 feeling is a lie? Or what, that it has an expiration date?
Well, not me personally. But our source for this deep dive definitely is. The question we're grappling with today is remarkably specific. Why does that hair, which looked absolutely magazine cover ready on day one, look like, well, like straw, or just lose its vibrancy exactly 1 month later?
1 month. That's a very specific timeline.
Exactly 1 month. That's the magic number.
Because I feel like my hair holds up for a few weeks, and then suddenly, boom, it's a disaster.
And to help us unpack this, we aren't just looking at a textbook or some beauty blog. We are deep diving into the notes and the experience of a veteran hairdresser named Mehmet. He's based in Kuşadası and has been in the industry for over 35 years.
35 years. Wow. That is a lifetime behind the chair.
It is.
I imagine he's seen every trend, from the perm disasters of the 80s to the balayage obsession of today.
Exactly. When someone with 3.5 decades of experience speaks, you listen. And Mehmet's perspective here isn't just about style or aesthetics. He's not talking about whether bangs are in or out.
Right.
He's talking about chemistry, about a hidden timeline of hair health that most of us are completely oblivious to.
I love that concept, the hidden timeline. Because usually when I'm in the chair, I'm just thinking about, the coffee, the gossip, trying not to make awkward eye contact in the mirror. I'm definitely not thinking about a molecular countdown clock ticking away on my head.
And that is precisely where the danger lies. Mehmet describes the process of balayage, which is, the gold standard for hair color right now, as a process that, and I'm quoting here, does not tolerate any mistakes.
He does not tolerate any mistakes. That sounds incredibly high stakes for a Tuesday afternoon appointment.
It is.
That sounds like bomb disposal, not highlighting.
It is honestly closer to bomb disposal than you might think. And the really scary part is even if mistakes are made, you won't see them right away.
And that's our mission for this deep dive then.
That's the mission. We are going to decode why perfect today might just mean disaster in 30 days.
Okay, let's unpack this 1 month illusion. Because I think we have all been there. You leave the salon, you're taking selfies, you're telling everyone, this hair is amazing.
Yeah.
Mehmet specifically mentions this reaction, right?
He does. He sketches out this scenario that's almost tragic in hindsight. He says clients are always happy at the moment of the service. The naked eye sees the color, it looks perfect. The stylist probably used a nice finishing oil, maybe a good blowout. Everyone is happy.
It's a moment of total validation.
Yeah.
But then the calendar pages turn.
Right. Mehmet highlights this very specific time frame. After a month, he says that is when reality sets in.
So what happens at the 30-day mark? Is it just that the roots start showing? Because it's natural. We can't blame the stylist for that.
No, this isn't about roots. This is structural.
Yeah.
Mehmet warns of very specific symptoms that appear right around that time.
Yeah.
First, visible changes in hair color. So that perfect tone starts to shift. Maybe it turns brassy or a bit muddy.
Okay, color fade. Annoying, but, it happens.
But then he lists dryness, and beyond that, brittleness and breakage.
Breakage. Okay, that's the nightmare scenario.
Oh, that's the one.
That's when you brush your hair and you see all those little pieces snapping off into the sink. Or you see those little white dots at the end of the hair shaft.
Precisely. Now, be honest. When that happens, when the hair gets dry and brittle a month later, what is your first instinct? Who do you blame?
Honestly, I blame myself.
Yep.
100%. I assume I'm the problem. I think, I shouldn't have used that cheap drugstore shampoo, or I used the curling iron too much. I immediately assume I messed up the maintenance.
You and everyone else. And that is exactly the misconception Mehmet is trying to correct. He pivots the blame entirely.
Really?
He says if you don't see vibrancy and shine after a month and you're seeing that breakage, the quality of the product used should be reviewed.
Wait, hang on. So you're saying that even if I am frying my hair with a straightener every day, the root cause might still be what happened in the salon 4 weeks ago?
If the structural integrity was compromised during the chemical service, then yes. The heat tools just reveal the damage. They didn't necessarily cause the collapse.
Wow.
Mehmet is very clear about it. The key takeaway is that visual perfection on day one does not equal structural health.
That is a massive disconnect. We are trained to judge the quality of a haircut or color by how it looks in the mirror right when the kit comes off. But he's saying that's a false metric.
It's the 1 month illusion. It's like judging a house by a fresh coat of paint. It looks great from the street, but if the wood underneath is rotten, that pan is going to peel in a month.
So let's dig into this culprit, the product quality. Mehmet says the quality should be reviewed if vibrancy is lost. But I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
I mean, bleach is bleach, isn't it?
Mm.
It's a harsh chemical designed to strip color. How different can one brand really be from another?
That is probably the most dangerous assumption you can make in a salon. See, high-quality products are designed to do two things at once: alter the color and maintain the integrity of the hair shaft.
Okay.
Poor quality products are just blunt instruments. They blast open the hair cuticle to deposit color or lift pigment, but they don't have the protective mechanisms, the buffers to keep the hair healthy afterwards.
So the cheap stuff gets the visual result and makes you blonde, but it just destroys the house in the process.
Exactly. It strips away all the lipids and proteins that keep the hair elastic and strong.
It kind of reminds me of car parts. You know,
Oh, go on. I like this.
like you can buy a really cheap replacement part for your engine. Let's say a gasket or something.
Right, the budget option.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You install it, the car starts up, it runs great for a week. You're thinking, wow, I saved so much money and it works perfectly.
You know what's coming.
And then a month later, you're on the side of the highway, smoke coming out of the hood because that cheap part just couldn't handle the heat.
That is a perfect analogy. The car ran fine initially, the hair looked shiny initially, but the structural integrity wasn't there to last.
So Mehmet's point is that we need to stop looking at the shine on day one and start asking about the durability of the product being used.
Correct. And he frames it as a responsibility of the stylist to ensure that durability. He says processes like highlights and balayage are crucial and require detailed attention. It's not just painting stripes on a head, it's a chemical operation.
And he breaks this down into a sort of checklist, right? A pregame strategy. I want to go through this slowly because I feel like this is where the real secrets are.
Absolutely. Mehmet says that before a stylist even touches your hair with a brush, there has to be a rigorous analysis. If your stylist just throws a cape on you and starts mixing a bowl without even looking closely at your hair, that's a red flag.
A huge red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is item number 1 on this 35-year veteran's checklist?
First up is product selection. He explicitly mentions choosing the right chemical agent for the specific hair type.
So not one size fits all.
Never. Fine hair, thick hair, previously colored hair, they all react differently. For instance, some lighteners are oil-based, which is gentler. Some are powder-based and much more aggressive.
Right.
Using a harsh, generic lightener on delicate, fine hair is a recipe for that month-later breakage we talked about.
It's like using a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame.
That's it. It works, but you put a hole in the wall. Next on the list is hair analysis, a detailed examination of the current state of the hair.
That sounds like a doctor's checkup. Let me see the patient. How do they actually do that? Do they put it under a microscope or something?
Usually it's more tactile. They should be touching the hair, stretching it a bit when it's wet. This tests porosity and elasticity.
Oh, okay.
If wet hair stretches like bubble gum and doesn't snap back, the structure is already compromised. If a stylist sees that and still applies bleach, well, that hair is not surviving the month.
Okay, so if the foundation is cracked, don't build a second story on it. That makes sense. What's the third item?
This one's a big one, pigment value. This is about understanding the underlying color and the strength of the hair strands.
Pigment value. I've heard stylists talk about hair pulling warm, but I'm not sure I totally get it. Is this just fancy talk for hair color?
It's a bit deeper than the color you just see. See, every person's hair has an underlying pigment, usually red, orange, or yellow, that's hidden by the darker melanin.
Right.
When you bleach hair, you're peeling away those layers. You hit red first, then orange, then yellow.
So it's a battle against your own biology.
It is. And if the stylist doesn't understand the pigment value of the canvas they're working on, they might overprocess the hair trying to kill that orange tone. Mehmet is saying you have to respect the pigment. You have to know what you're fighting against before you start the war.
That's fascinating. So it's not just make it blonde, it's navigate the red and orange minefield carefully.
Yes. And then there's one detail Mehmet mentions that I found really interesting because it sounds so industrial.
Uh,
He talks about the packaging time frame.
Packaging time frame. That sounds like something from a shipping warehouse. What does that mean in a salon?
He's talking about the foils or wraps. When you get highlights, the hair is often wrapped up in aluminum foil, right?
Yeah, you look like a space alien for 45 minutes. I always assumed that was just to keep the bleach from getting on the rest of my head.
It does that, but it also acts as an incubator. The chemical reaction of bleach is often exothermic. It creates heat. The foil traps that heat.
Wait, so my head is basically an oven?
In a way, yes. The heat accelerates the chemical reaction. It makes the bleach work faster and stronger. So Mehmet is saying you have to calculate exactly how long that hair needs to cook inside that package.
Oh, wow. So it's not just leave it on for 30 minutes while I go eat lunch?
Absolutely not. It's this specific hair with this specific product in this foil needs exactly 22 minutes. If you leave it for 30, the heat inside that foil can spike. The bleach doesn't just eat the color, it starts eating the protein bonds of the hair itself.
And again, you might not see it right away because they just slap a bunch of conditioner on it.
Right. But that protein structure is cooked. It's like overcooking a steak. You can put sauce on it, but the meat is tough and dry.
That damage shows up in the 1 month illusion.
It does.
This is all a really high-stakes game. Mehmet wasn't kidding when he said Balayage does not tolerate any mistakes. If you miss just one of those steps...
It's city in 30 days.
Which brings us to the final piece of his philosophy, which I think is the most scientific part of this whole discussion, preservation.
Yes. Preservation is the end game. Mehmet states it clearly. Of course, to avoid damaging the hair, it's essential to protect the hair during coloring.
During coloring. That's the key phrase, isn't it? Because I feel like the beauty industry sells us a lot of repair products.
It is the absolute key. Most people think protection happens after. You know the drill. I colored my hair, so now I'll buy the expensive repair mask. I'll do the bond builder treatment on Sunday nights.
Guilty. I definitely do that. I think I can fix the damage after it's done. I treat my hair like a fixer-upper.
And Mehmet is saying that is too late. Once the structure is broken, it's broken. You can patch it, but you can't rebuild it perfectly. The protection has to happen while the chemical reaction is taking place.
So how do you even do that? What are the factors?
He drills down into two specific technical aspects: preserving pigment value and, this is the big one, maintaining the pH level.
Okay, let's go back to high school chemistry for a second. I remember litmus paper pink and blue. But why does my hairdresser need to worry about pH?
This is so critical. Our hair has a natural pH level, usually around 4.5 to 5.5, that makes it slightly acidic.
Right.
When hair is at this pH, the cuticle, which is like the shingles on a roof, lays flat and tight. It's smooth, it's shiny.
So acidic is good. Acidic means the roof is sealed.
Correct. But chemical processes like bleaching are highly alkaline. We're talking a pH of 10 or 11. They have to be alkaline to force those shingles to stand up, to open the cuticle, so the bleach can get inside.
So the process itself throws the hair's balance completely out of whack. You have to break the pH to get the color in.
Drastically. You are forcing the door open. Now here is where product quality comes back in. A cheap, harsh product spikes that pH violently and just keeps it there. It blows the door off its hinges.
That is such a good visualization. And if you blow the door off the hinges, the door never really closes again properly.
Exactly. Even when you rinse it, the hair stays swollen. The cuticle scales don't lay flat, and if the door never closes, moisture escapes, color molecules fall out, and the internal structure is exposed to the elements.
And that leads to
Dryness, brittleness, color fade, the very symptoms from the intro.
it's all clicking now.
So Mehmet's point about preserving pH level as much as possible means using products that have buffering agents. These are smart chemicals that let the pH rise enough to do the job, but they prevent it from going into that destruction zone.
So you open the door gently, do the work, and then make sure the door can still close afterwards.
That is the definition of preservation. If you don't control the pH in the chair, no amount of hair mask at home will save you.
It really is an aha moment for me. I always viewed hair coloring as, an art form painting on a canvas, just as aesthetics. But listening to Mehmet, this 35-year veteran, it sounds much more like precision engineering or biochemistry.
It's absolutely biochemistry. The art is the result, but the process is science. And his warning is that if you ignore the science, if you ignore the pH, the timing, the product quality, the art will crumble in 4 weeks.
It really makes you rethink the whole salon experience. It's not just about who has the coolest Instagram feed. It's about who understands the chemistry.
It really does.
So let's try to wrap this up. Let's summarize what we've learned from our guide in Kushadaza, because this has changed how I'm going to look at my next appointment.
Well, we started with that universal desire for the perfect hair feeling, but Mehmet taught us to be wary of the 1 month illusion. Just because it shines today doesn't mean it's healthy.
Right. The shine can be a mask. And if your hair turns to straw at the 30-day mark, don't just blame your curling iron. The culprit was likely the product quality used during the service.
And we learned that balayage is a high-stakes game, a bomb disposal operation, as you put it, that requires that whole pre-processed checklist.
Product selection, hair analysis, pigment value, and calculating the packaging timeframes so you don't literally cook the hair in the foils.
And finally, the science corner. True hair health is about preservation during the process, specifically controlling those pH levels. You want to open the cuticle, not destroy it.
It shifts the power dynamic. As a client, you realize the most important part of the service isn't the blowout at the end, it's the chemical choices made at the very beginning.
Which leads to a provocative thought I'd like to leave you with.
Okay.
Think about your last salon visit. You probably spent 20 minutes scrolling through photos, asking your stylist, can you make me look like this? Or, what do you think of this shade of honey blonde?
Absolutely. That is 90% of the consultation. Made me look like Margot Robbie.
But based on what Mehmet has told us, if the product quality determines whether your hair breaks off in a month, why do we almost never ask about the brand or the chemistry of what's being put on our heads?
That is a scary good point. I have no idea what brand is on my head right now. I don't know if it was the cheap gasket or the premium part.
Exactly. So maybe the most important question isn't what you think of this photo, but rather, what is the pH philosophy of your products? Or how do your products preserve the integrity of my hair during the process?
Asking about the pH philosophy. I love that. It sounds super nerdy, but it signals that you know the game. It might surprise your